My name is Marco Rivero. I am the staff liaison to the Park and Rec Commission. As a reminder, this meeting is being recorded for our public records and will be posted on the Arlington County Commission Meetings YouTube page. And please avoid sharing any personal information that you would not like to be made public. We ask that presenters and attendees please mute your microphones if you're not speaking. During virtual only or hybrid meetings, commissioners joining virtually and who are eligible to vote must have their cameras on for the duration of the meeting for purposes of meeting quorum. For those attending via telephone, you can mute and unmute your microphones by dialing *6. The chat box will be monitored to address any technical or procedural questions during the meeting, but should not be used for meeting discussion. Commissioners should use the raise your hand function on the top toolbar to be recognized during the commission discussion. And aside presenters may share their screens using the share content box above. As way of information, we'll be holding a public comment period. In order to be recognized, please use the raise your hand function, and each public commenter will have up to 3 minutes for public comment. Staff will signal to the speaker once time is up. And then also there's another reminder during the public comment period and during agenda item discussions amongst the PRC, the chair will recognize virtual participation first, and then in-person attendees will be able to comment. Thank you very much, and I'll turn it back over to our chair.
Great, thank you so much, Marco. The first order of business is to approve the minutes from 2 meetings, January 21st and February 27th. Are there any comments on the minutes or changes? May I please have a motion to approve the minutes?
So moved.
Second. All in favor signify by saying aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Motion carries. Thank you. Now it's time for public comment.
Yes, and I believe we have one public commenter, Daniel Gluck. And yes, each public commenter will have up to 3 minutes to speak, and I will recognize Mr. Gluck.
Hi, everyone.
Hello.
Sorry for any confusion. Admittedly, I came over to the building and I realized that I guess it was closed, so I wasn't sure if it was any in person or I guess it's all online now.
So the in-person option was actually supposed to be here at Aurora Hills Community Center, but joining online is fine. So yes.
Oh, shoot. Okay, yeah, I didn't realize it was at Aurora Hills then. That is my mistake, and that actually would have been right around the corner from me. However, the fact that you're right at the Aurora Hills Community Center kind of illustrates my point. So this is kind of an inquiry of mine that came about. Thank you, Marco, as well. Because you've been primarily my correspondent. But essentially, as you guys probably know, the landing over at Crystal City has been undergoing some renovation. And prior to that, as far as I'm known, for many years, there was a board gaming community that met there like weekly on Fridays. Garnered probably above about 50 individuals on a weekly basis and have been kind of displaced. And so far, we haven't been able to rebuild that. However, in investigating areas, initially, communities, even talk of a community center never even came up. And it was in my own investigations, I found that the community centers are here and they're available and they're looking for people, but it seems to be kind of a disconnect between the centers and their intent as well as the community members. That honestly, it's a major need, just looking for space. And so for that, I just had a couple of suggestions because I noticed most of the information is made available to the website, but even just for one, considering something like meetup.com to advertise. So you can essentially, for play time, basically show a space or the amount of seats you have available, as well as individuals can see what they can do with it. And secondly, the possibility of this might not be a job that'd be most easy for the park itself or Park and Recreations Commission workup itself. Instead, just simply making it easier for those groups, say that are already using places like Meetup to host events, essentially say, get around the difficulty of, say, the registration system and fee-based system. Like, say, if they're just offering places that are, or they're offering events that are open to the public, just say waive the fee system or the theoretical number of times that might be made available to them, say like that the library system uses. Secondly, sorry, I was going to say in relation to Aurora Hills, when I was looking around, like Aurora Hills is perfect for the needs of, the community and areas I know about.
Mr. Gluck, your
Yeah.
3 minutes are up. I'm sorry. But
Oh,
your 3
I'm
minutes are
sorry.
up. Okay.
Thank you,
Well,
Dave.
I have my published comments available as well, so thank you.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
Okay, oh, good. So he wrote in something as well?
Yes, it
Oh, okay.
came into I guess, the Park and Rec Commission sign up for public comment.
Okay. good.
Marco, could I mention the advisory group that's associated with the Aurora Hills Community Center? They meet the first Monday of every month.
Okay.
And Mr. Gluck, if you have an interest in more directly being involved with those who can, I think, address the things that you're talking about, I encourage you to consider attending one of their meetings. Again, the next meeting will be the first Monday of April coming up. It's Aurora.
Please. Yeah, please. I would like that information. My apologies. I don't currently have the ability to write down. Marco, would you mind? You have my email. Would you mind providing me such information?
Yes, thank you. Mhm.
Thank you very much.
Yeah, thank you for your comments, Mr. Gluck. I hope, we'll keep talking about it and hopefully come up with something that works for you.
Thank you, and sorry, I know I'm long-winded.
Thank you.
All right.
Are there any other public commenters online who would like to speak? Hearing none.
Okay, thank you. And, did you want to say something in response to the research that you did?
Oh, yes. So yes, thank you, Joe. In terms of the community centers and the usage of those centers. So Mr. Gluck and I have been speaking about, I guess, what the procedures are, and I let him know that there are ways that we can accommodate reservations within our community centers and other facilities, either online for a certain fee for certain facilities. There are facilities, for example, Langston Brown Community Center, Arlington Mill, this one and others, where there are, larger vestibule or community spaces that may not require reservation, that folks can come and use during normal business hours. So that is an option that is put out there. We also discuss outdoor options at privately owned public spaces or other parks that may have areas for congregation. It seems like the interest is more towards the indoor facilities and community centers and other facilities that the county can provide. I even emailed back about our athletic and facility services director, who would be able to provide more information on that as well.
Thank you. Yeah, so I just wanted the commissioners to be educated, as I was, by hearing what the options are. So if you get asked, you'll know what options.
But there are currently no free options where someone can reserve a space in a community center for use by a group.
Not right now, and under the current parameters. If you look online, there are rooms that could be reserved, but there is typically a fee associated with that.
So the libraries are free, and the libraries have rooms of varying sizes, but you do have to reserve them in blocks, and they're highly desired. So there's a lot of competition.
By blocks, you mean like weekly or monthly or something like that? When you say blocks, you have to.
I think they're reserved in half-an-hour blocks.
Oh, that's what you, okay.
There's a lot of competition for them, so you really have to be Johnny on the spot with them.
And it's like, if the group is like 50-ish people,
That's a lot of people for even a bigger space in one of the
I
libraries.
think just like the central library has the auditorium, but even then, I think that's got to be associated.
I wouldn't know about the auditorium. I know they have a variety of meeting spaces, both large and small. I don't know what the upper limit is for the large. And those are free, but they're only open when the library is open.
No.
And again, they're highly sought after by groups and by people who just need a place to study. So perhaps not always an option. Again, and I don't know what the upper limit is. I mean, the small ones are clearly far too small for a group of that size. I wouldn't know about the large ones.
I know Central Library has the large study room, but I know not many people would like to have any noise within those spaces.
Yeah.
So, yeah, but to your point, there are some spaces within our libraries that are highly sought after.
And just a logistic question. Where are the mics so they can hear us speaking? Anybody who's online, are they?
I think it's above, but folks are able to hear us.
Yeah, okay, just want to make sure.
Great, thank you. All right, if there's no more discussion on that, we'll go to our first presentation, which is the 55+ program. I'm sorry, William Way is not here because he was the one who suggested it. He's on that commission. Thank you for coming and for your presentation.
Whoop, oh, I'm sorry, and I didn't record it. Sorry, 1 second.
Sure.
It did not go back to the beginning from when I tested it earlier.
No, it's okay.
Okay, beginning. Oops. Okay, that should do it. Okay, hello everybody. Can you hear me okay?
Yes.
Okay. Hello, I'm Jennifer Collins. I am the 55+ program manager of the 55+ programs for the Department of Parks and Recreation. So thank you for having me tonight. It's been a while. I think last time I was here, I came with Cheryl Johnson, our division chief, and spoke with you, and that was before COVID. So I appreciate this opportunity to update you on our programs. Just a little background information. The 55+ program serves approximately 6,700 members every year through 5 dedicated senior centers offering over 200 programs each week, ranging from fitness to social activities, educational workshops, congregate meal programs, and a 55+ travel, and more than 50 fitness classes offered each week, and ensuring the senior community stays active, engaged, and connected. And a little exciting news, last year we actually celebrated our 70th anniversary with the Office of Senior Adult Programs, and we were the first senior center that was actually established in the state of Virginia. So briefly, we are a part of the Community Recreation Division, which serves everyone from youth to seniors. And our core lines of business are distinct for each of our units. However, there's often collaboration between the teams to provide programs and services the community needs and wants. And we have a structure that allows sharing of staffing, volunteers, and other resources across our division. And our support programs ensure that people of all ages are provided equitable recreation experiences. So the Office of Senior Programs, to dive into that specifically, as a result of the 55+ programs, our participants are able to follow healthier lifestyles and engage in social connections that improve their quality of life. We bring opportunities to learn, enhance physical and mental wellness, and engage in our community, all which improve the lives of our participants, making for a better Arlington County. And we do this through our 5 senior centers, our 3 social 60+ cafes, and a robust fitness and travel program, which I'm going to talk to you more about all these more in depth. First, we do have 5 senior centers across what we call our 55+ centers across the county. Excitingly, you all are in one of them tonight, the Aurora Hills Center. Just to note, all of our other 4 centers are 5-day-a-week programs with some evening and weekend programs. Aurora Hills is our only 3-day-a-week program. And just to drop a little note kind of on the comment earlier, the advisory committee and the senior adult councils have actually had some advocacy around trying to make Aurora Hills a 5-day-a-week program also. And I know the chair of the senior adult council was going to be speaking at the board meeting tonight on that. The staffing at our centers are usually, each center has 1 full-time center director. And then we, at the the Social 60+ cafe sites, we have a program coordinator that is specifically for the meal program, and then a 20-hour-a-week program assistant, along with numerous volunteers that help us run the programs. And each center has their very own advisory committee. And then we have the overall senior adult council, which represents all of the centers and programs, along with a sports and fitness advisory committee and a travel advisory committee. To participate in the 55+ programs, you do have to be registered with us and purchase a 55+ pass. And we have 2 options for that. The first option, which called the basic pass, gives you access to all of our programs, classes which are offered at reduced rates, and the 55+ trips. Now there is the new I call it a new option, but we've had it for about 5 or 6 years now. It's the Gold Pass, which along with access to all of our programs gives you access to the fitness centers, except for the Longbridge Aquatics and Fitness Center. And we actually currently have 6,747 registered pass holders. 65% of them actually have the Gold Pass. So it's quite popular. Some of you may have seen this, and I actually have a copy, and there may be a copy at the front desk there at Aurora Hills of our 55+ guide. This is how we get out the majority of our information about the program. This is a digital guide, and it is usually 50 to 60 pages filled each quarter of programming. It usually has on average 500 different programs offered each quarter, some of them being weekly programs, some of them being one-time programs, but this is really kind of the guide that shows everything that is going on. We do offer it, it's a digital copy that we send to all of the members through email, but knowing that not all of our participants, whether they do not have computers, may not have access to internet, or just may not, for different reasons, be able to access the guide online, we do print out the paper. We print out 500 paper copies of this that we have at the centers, and that the directors have and are able to give out to participants that ask for them. And then we also have a 55+ e-news that goes out monthly, and sometimes as needed, more often if we have something urgent that we want to get out to people. And we have like over 10,000 people on that mailing list that receive the e-news. Talking more about our programs, all the programs in the guide, many of them we call programs in demand because they are just remain very popular with our participants. And we work closely with our participants on the types of programs. If we see a program isn't full or it's only getting a couple people, we'll reassess and either discontinue or try to change up the program to pull in more people. Our core programs are around wellness, lectures and learning, arts, brain health, technology, social events, community services, and the big demand is our sports and fitness and travel programs. We also focus on a lot of the popular trends that are nationwide, like technology, aging in place, purpose and retirement, sometimes like next chapter programs, and mental wellness has been a big one for us recently, and programs about how to avoid dementia and Alzheimer's through physical and mental activities, along with nutrition and socialization. So to talk briefly about our sports and fitness programs, we strive to find classes that will meet anyone's needs. We offer classes from a seated exercise to intense cardio classes like a senior boot camp or a cardio kickboxing, We offer aquatics classes at Longbridge. As you'll see the picture at the top left, that's Longbridge. Those classes are always very popular. And just so we have, we offer over on average 150 hours of sports and fitness programming for members every week. The most popular classes being aqua with shallow and deep, classes, arthritis, Tabata, and even a water cycle. I had to look up the water cycle. I wasn't sure what, and that's actually they cycle around on the noodles through the pool and do different exercises. Boot camp and Pilates, Zumba, which is in the bottom right. The Pilates is to the left, and a yoga. We have a variety of different yogas that remain very popular. And wanted to talk briefly about that picture in the middle. If you've been to Lubber Run anytime on a Monday through Friday between 9 and 11, you may have seen one of these popular classes. This one is our total body fitness. And on some days we have the full gym and we can take up to 65 people and we fill up these classes. It's amazing. And some days we have half the gym where we can take up to 40 participants. But so parking's never the best on those days, but it's always fun to see these classes, participants. Some of them, they start with a chair exercises for balance, strength training, and then they move them out of the way and they do cardio throughout the gym. So it's a very popular, and that's actually a drop-in class because we get so many people, we're able to offer it that way. And so it works well with people's schedules. Wanted to talk briefly about the 55 plus group training. And this is a new program this year. In response to the DPR personal training program being eliminated in the FY25 budget, the 55 plus programs office was tasked with developing a new program to meet the needs of seniors who previously participated in the program. So a new group training program was developed to provide participants with options to work with trainers in a group setting to achieve their fitness goals. Because we found out from the data, the majority of the people that were still taking the personal training were seniors. So since that program was going to have to go away, we still wanted to try to provide something. And without it being at the top of our cost recovery pyramid, now we're able to do these group classes, which have anywhere from 6 to 8 participants in it with a trainer, and the trainer's able to work with the group. We started it this fall. All of the classes filled and several of them had waiting lists. And now we're actually, just this spring, we've changed it because we were offering 6-week classes back to back because our series usually runs for a quarter, so 3 months. So we actually are now for the first time doing 12 weeks, and those classes have filled up. If not all filled, they have at least enough to run, and some of them have waiting lists. And these classes are being offered at TJ and at Madison, and we're also looking at expanding to Arlington Mill. So this has actually been a popular program, and hopefully address the need with the loss of the personal training program. And just to touch briefly on our sports programs, we have a variety of different things between biking groups, walking clubs, volleyball. There's always a big volleyball group that plays at Lubber Run on Thursday afternoons. We have a senior golf club that meets from April to October. They play once a week at different courses all around Northern Virginia. We have like 280 members in the club. And then, of course, we've been doing pickleball before pickleball was popular. So we've actually, I've been with the county 20 years, and it was already here. We estimated they've been playing it in Arlington about 30 years. And for the past 15, 16 years, we've actually been doing through the senior program, we do pickleball lessons for beginners and even paid classes with instructors. So as we all know, that's become very popular. So one of the things that people love about our program too is the 55 plus travel program. They're able to offer on average 10 to 12 day trips a month and remains very popular. Last year, we served over 635 unique travelers. Many of these travelers come monthly. I know whenever we have our registration, we see the travel participants are always, a lot of them like to come in person and do their registration to make sure that they have gotten their trips that often fill up fast too. And 96% of the 55 plus travel participants have rated the trips from good to excellent. The 55 plus travel program has been around a while. It was established in 1972, and the trips are planned by the 55 plus travel advisory committee. That's the staff and from the volunteer travel leaders and the feedback that they receive while they're on the trips. Some of the top trips that we've offered over the last year is the Museum of Fine Arts, historic trips to Gettysburg and Antietam, the Chalk Tank Riverboat Cruise. We also have done train rides, historic garden weeks, and the Riverside Center for Performing Arts, Kennedy Center coffee concerts, and the National Theater, where they go for numerous shows. And just to share a little testimony from some of our travelers, one participant said after her husband passed, she didn't know what to do with herself. And then she was told about the travel program from one of our staff, and it saved her life. Another participant shared, my husband and I can't get around like we used to. We love the travel program because we can hop on the bus and not worry about driving. And then the 55 plus travel team makes it so easy to travel. And I have a feeling of joy again in seeing new places and meeting new friends. So travel's a very special part of our program. And then I want to talk about the Social 60 Plus Cafe. This is offered at 3 of our locations at Arlington Mill, Langston Brown, and Walter Reed. So it's part of the senior centers at those sites. This program is actually in partnership with DHS Area Agency on Aging and is designed to provide meals, transportation, and nutritional programs to older individuals 60 plus. It abides by the Virginia Department of Aging and Rehabilitative Services state requirements. In fact, we just had our DARS audit this month, just a few weeks ago, and we received praise from the state saying Arlington is a model program that they wish they could showcase to other jurisdictions. So we were excited about that feedback from them. That we received the audit from them every 4 years. So the last one we did with them was actually during COVID, so it was virtually. So this is the first time they've been back with us in person. The cafe, formerly known as the Congregate Meal Program, was established in 1972 under the Older Americans Act, and it is designed to help older individuals remain independent and involved in their community. The program presents opportunities for social engagement, meaningful volunteer roles, which can contribute to the overall health and well-being and helps prevent the need for more costly medical interventions. These programs have been taking place in Arlington since 1975, so we'll hit 50 years with the Congregate Meal Program this year, and help individuals remain independent and in their communities. Any Arlington resident age 60 years or older and their spouses, regardless of the spouse's age, are eligible for the program. There's no income restrictions for this program. This is age-based program, but priority for the subsidized meals may be given to people with lower income and greater socioeconomic need. The meals are free and they're offered Monday through Friday at the centers. Participants do pre-register to let us know so we know how many meals to order. And while they're free, however, the participants are encouraged to make a contribution towards their meals and transportation. And this is done confidentially, so no one feels any pressure if they cannot afford to contribute to the meal. Meals that we served in FY24, we served 13,223 meals. And since returning from COVID, we've seen a yearly increase in this program. Prior to COVID, we were serving between 11 to 12,000. And within the first year that we were fully reopened, we exceeded those numbers. So this program remains very popular and needed in the community. And we actually, last year, we served 192 unique participants across the 3 sites. We do a nutritional intake screening for participants, and these results are used to determine participants' nutritional risk. The checklist is done annually on all cafe participants at the time of initial assessments and a yearly reassessment. And this helps with developing a nutritional profile of the center participants, which helps in planning nutrition education programs. And information can be used to direct and make referrals to other county programs also. And another important service provided through this program is transportation. And this is one we actually do not receive federal funds. So this is fully funded through Arlington County is the transportation, because the majority of the participants cannot drive or do not have transportation. So we provide a shuttle bus and taxi rides through STAR for those that may not be able to use the shuttle. And transportation is probably our biggest challenge with this program, because it's not like a school bus where, you're picking up on this corner every day, Monday through Friday. Ours changes every day because Miss Smith may not come to the program every day, or Mr. Jones has a last minute cancellation. And since the shuttles go to their home, it gets a little challenging with scheduling, but our staff's worked really hard the last couple of years to get that, because the shuttle has a new to us over the last 2 years too. And just cost of transportation. So the social cafe the meals are important. However, we believe the social interaction that they are getting is often more beneficial. And we really believe that is what keeps people coming back. Research has linked social isolation and loneliness to higher risk for a variety of physical and mental conditions like high blood pressure, heart disease, obesity, cognitive decline, depression. And according to the National Institute on Aging, the health risk of prolonged isolations are equivalent to smoking 15 cigarettes a day, and social isolation and loneliness also have been estimated to shorten a person's life by 15 years. So the reason we actually call the cafe Social 60 Plus Cafe is we rebranded a few years ago, and we worked with the seniors on the participants. What did they think the name should be? And the thing that kept coming up is the social aspect of it. And they thought it was important to use the name. Hence we have the senior Social 60 Plus Cafe. So and we really believe the socialization and different programs is what keeps people coming back. The program coordinators offer a variety of programming daily: exercise, arts and crafts, games, and lots of opportunities to socialize. If you're ever at Walter Reed, I think it's on Tuesdays, is one of their fitness classes. They take over the gym with like 30 people in the exercise class, and they just love it. Just to share a couple quick stories about about some of our participants at Langston Brown. Victoria was an active member of the Social 60 Plus for many years. She came to the center with her husband Juan. She assisted with our garden and led some arts and craft projects for participants. But unfortunately, she became ill and passed away in 2020. Juan was sad and alone, but after lots of convincing from the center and friends, he decided to come back to the center 1 day a week. That was all he was going to do, but he was going to come. So the love and support he received from the other participants helped Juan move forward, and he actually started to come a few days more, and now he comes every day and enjoys being with as many friends at the centers and participating in exercise, art, and Rummy Cube. And his family is grateful for the program and support it provided Juan during a difficult time in his life. And then Louise at Walter Reed says the exercise classes keep us active and in good health, mentally and physically. The classes are educational, fun, and we show our talent in art classes. The lunch provides us with a meal to help our bodies. Those of us that live alone gives a chance to express our feelings, our emotions to others. We keep up to date and with news and talk about current events in the conversations. We laugh and share our emotions. We leave the center feeling good and happy. Everyone in the center is so great and does an excellent job. Everyone looks forward to the next day, and we are grateful to have these senior centers in our community. So just sharing some of the stories. And then one program I wanted to share about that we do at 2 of the Social 60 sites, it's at Walter Reed and Langston Brown. We were able to have gardens and done totally by the Social 60 Plus staff and participants. And we've worked with master gardeners on too. And these have been a real success. And part of we're excited to have this program because gardening has many benefits for health, both physically and mentally, with increased exercise, because the participants actually go out and work in the gardens. And we do have the raised beds gardens too, which makes it easier for some of them. And so through doing this, they're getting exercise, working every major muscle group, time in nature, mental health by reduced stress and anxiety levels, and improves your mood so they feel less depressed. The social connections they have working with each other. and just a wide range of positive health outcomes through these gardens. We're actually even able to, the picture in the top right, you can see they harvest what they grow, and sometimes we're able to use it in the meals, the salads, or the different meals that they have, and sometimes we can even send it home with the participants. We've also offered classes working with master gardeners to teach the participants about how they can garden at home, even if they don't have outside space. So example, we've done like container garden. I'm showing them how to do container gardening and giving them the supplies that they could take home and do. So wanted to talk briefly about our virtual programs. And this is something that came out of COVID also. I've got a short video I want to show you here for this.
Hey everyone, my name is Nick England.
And I'm Leela Pay.
You may recognize us as 55 Plus Center Directors with Arlington County Parks and Recreation.
The 55 Plus program staff have been working hard to bring you the same great programs virtually, which is why we've created this YouTube channel. Here you will find some of your favorite exercise classes, presentations, cooking demos, and more.
YouTube is such a great source of knowledge, resources, and entertainment. And we're looking forward to adding our 55 Plus programs to it. Check it out. We have a lot more coming, so please subscribe to this channel, turn on notifications, bookmark this page, do whatever you need to do to keep coming back and seeing what's new.
Of course, we're all about community, so please feel free to leave us a comment. We love hearing from you. See you soon.
Oops, now, okay. So we actually say sometimes that virtual programs is one of the good things that actually came out of COVID. Staff had to pivot pretty fast for our programming when COVID hit, because when the center shut down, but we knew we needed to still keep our participants connected. So we started creating virtual programs, and we did both live and live virtual programs where they could be interacting, but we also started a 55 Plus YouTube channel that was actually, it's a library of pre-recorded programming so that people could access at any time. Anything from popular fitness classes, a variety of different programs, including musical performance, cooking demos, nature presentations, class lectures, storytelling, genealogy, and a lot more, a lot of history programs also that are still popular. So, and we actually currently we have over 826 subscribers to our YouTube channel. We still keep that updated. So we try to, as we do programs now, well, whether virtually or sometimes in person, we'll try to record them if we can and post them on our YouTube channel. So right now we have 146 videos that are posted that at any time people could access to watch those. And we've had over 37,000 views on these videos. So that's something we continue to work with. And from this also came a partnership with Fairfax County and Prince William County. I sat on a committee with them throughout COVID on senior centers and what the different jurisdictions were doing. And everybody was kind of doing virtual programs, but knew once we came back, that's not something we'd be able to maintain, because a lot of it was like our travel supervisor started doing virtual during COVID because we weren't doing trips. But so she offered the virtual programs, but we knew once we came back, she wouldn't be able to do that full time. So each of the different jurisdictions take a day. So Arlington County's, most of ours on Thursdays, where we offer virtual programs, and anyone can sign up for these programs. So that's been a great thing. We've continued that partnership now throughout, and we often will encourage people, like if we have inclement weather days, or if someone's sick, or it's flu season, go check out the virtual programs, and that remains popular. And I just wanted to talk briefly about some digital equity programs. We work with a nonprofit, the Alliance for Arlington Senior Programs. They were actually established to help fundraise for the 55 Plus programs and other senior programs in Arlington County. And they really took digital equity under their wings. During COVID, they saw like people having issues with connection, whether it's internet access, having computers, or even the basic skills. So they started a program called Internet Access for Arlington Seniors, and they have been for the last couple years. When we came back from COVID, they started offering computer classes at our centers, and they would actually even give the seniors laptops, and they learned how to use the laptops. And then it would usually like a 6-week class. And now they've expanded this and have been able to hold at some of the housing communities in the area that had seniors. On the screen is a list of some of the places they've done in FY24. And even this year alone, they've already, and that I think last year they had 171 students. And this current year, they've already had 54 students go through the program. So that's been really a success. They've worked with Arlington Adult Education to hire instructors to teach these classes, and they're just teaching the basic computer skills. That's been really successful for them. So we've been excited to help partner with them on that program. And that takes me to the end of my presentation tonight, but I'm happy to answer any questions that anybody has. I'll stop sharing. And there's my contact information. I'll leave that up there too, in case anybody wants to follow up later and has any questions.
Wow. Thank you so much. Wow, I'm impressed with how much you do. I have 2 questions. How much, I guess 3 questions. How big is your staff? How many volunteers do you manage? And what is the cost that you charge for the 55 plus and the 55 gold?
Oh, I'm glad you said that. I forgot to say that. Let me start with that one because for our annual fees for the memberships is for the county resident, for the basic pass, it's $25. And for our household, it's $35.
Wow.
And then so for the gold pass, it is $65 and $95 for a household. So especially if you're using the gym, that $65 looks really nice. I actually recently, my chiropractor lives in Arlington, and he's like, I think I'm going to join y'all's gym. So he's like, that's what I've been paying monthly. So, and he's been loving having the access to the fitness facilities through Arlington. So that, the membership, our staff, we have about 20 permanent staff. Currently, we have 3 vacancies. We're hiring right now for our assistant travel coordinator. The Aurora Hills, where you're at tonight, unfortunately, we lost the director, went on to another opportunity last summer. So we're hoping to hire for that. We're just kind of waiting on the outcome of the budget this year, because if it remains a 3-day program, we'll be able to hire. But if it's a 5-day program, that pulls in a different pool of applications. So we're kind of seeing what happens there. And then Arlington Mill, we have a open position there. But we have staff at all the centers. We also have a operations and nutrition supervisor that oversees the center directors and the Congregate Mill program, the travel supervisor, sports and fitness coordinator, and someone that does our outreach and marketing. So that kind of consists, and several volunteers. We have a few subs that help at the centers when we need staff. Like right now, we're running Aurora Hills with a sub, unfortunately, since we don't have a full-time staff. And then we have, I think it's around 150 volunteers that help run the program. Some of them might be, they're teaching the classes. Some people might be helping with the meal program. There's a variety. Our travel program has leaders that lead the trips. So that's a successful program, volunteer model that we've been able to use also.
That's amazing. Managing volunteers alone is a lot of work. So does anybody else have questions? Adam?
Yeah, I had a couple. One is off that what Bill was asking. That seems enormously, well, I should say, amazingly low in terms of cost. And I'm wondering if there's been any effort or thought about making it income-based rather than just a straight, no matter how much income you have, you pay $65 for the gold pass.
I do know the memberships are set to go up again in the new budget. And actually, we had not raised membership rates in over 10 years. So we went up last year, $5. I think it's going to go up another $5 this year. Still very cheap. But we also work with have a lot of seniors that are on fixed incomes. in Arlington County. We often say sometimes people might be house rich, cash poor because they may have bought their houses 30, 40 years ago. So they may not. So we've always tried to keep these programs low cost. But I do think in the next year, we're going to be looking closely at, and from the advice of what the board is saying now, they want us to kind of look and see how our prices fit and like even what other jurisdictions are doing. I feel like we kind of fall in line with a lot of other jurisdictions, but we're also different than other jurisdictions too. From Fairfax to Loudoun, we're probably most similar to Loudoun because their centers have meal programs like we do, but a lot of Parks and Rec don't run the meal programs like we do. And that's actually, the meal programs used to be run through DHS, and about 20 years ago they changed that, where DHS receives the funding, gives it to Parks and Rec, but Parks and Rec implements it because it just went so well hand in hand with the senior centers.
And you have to
Fair
be a resident to participate, right? You have to be an Arlington resident in order to participate in the programs.
No, we do have a non-resident rate for all the memberships also.
And what is that?
That is for the non-county resident, for the base pass is $50 and $95 for the gold pass. And then for a household is $70 and $140.
That also seems incredibly low for people who aren't paying taxes in the county. I mean, I don't mean to say that, it just seems like I know like cost recovery is becoming a big issue. I'm surprised it hasn't reached your program yet.
Yeah. I think it's coming, honestly, kind of do. And I think so.
Anybody else have any?
The travel programs are at the top though. You mentioned the pyramid. The travel programs are 100% covered. Yeah. So the pass gets you in the door. If you take a class, you're paying the same rate as anybody else, I think. Or like if you take a cycling class or something that's generally offered. I have one. I have a gold pass. One of this. But yeah, so you're paying the pay-as-you-go rate for that. But the travel, correct me if I'm wrong, Jennifer, the travel program is kind of at that 100% recovery.
I actually believe it's at 85, but we do fully cover the cost of like a ticket. So if we're going to the Kennedy Center and it's $100, we're charging there's a percentage above that. Sorry, Charlika, who's our travel supervisor, does all the cost recovery work and the fees on that every year, but it's a percentage. So we cover any direct costs like that and a percentage of the transportation. So, and even any of our fitness classes, if we have to pay an instructor, we're charging for that. And we make sure our cost, what we're charging covers the cost of the instructor.
Okay. But then how does the policy fit in where nobody's ever turned away for being unable to pay?
They would apply for the fee reduction program.
Okay, so that could even apply for going to the Kennedy Center or something.
Yes, that's actually, it used to not, but now it does. So we do have some people that take the fee reduction for trips, and it's available to use for the memberships and any of our classes.
Okay, so that kind of helps soften the idea of increasing the base fee.
Yeah.
Anybody else? I have another one.
I do know, but
Okay.
go ahead. You go first.
I'll go. When I was testifying at the board last week, I guess it was, the guy from the juvenile detention facility explained that the state was losing money from the feds for the meals that he was providing to the juveniles. And I noticed that you're getting money from the state to provide the meals. Is there any inkling that funding is going to be withdrawn soon through the agriculture? It's through the agriculture department, right?
Ours is through the Older Americans Act, so it's the federal funds, but it's the state we go by their policies and they do our audit and everything. DHS receives the funding, and then so we get a portion of it. Right now, we believe we're going to be okay for next year, but everything's kind of up in the air. They're watching that, so I think they felt more comfortable about the meal programs and they were more concerned maybe about Meals on Wheels. But I know there was some funding in the budget for that through the county and not necessarily the federal funds, so.
Okay. Adam, did you have nothing?
Yeah, transportation, you had mentioned that's one of your biggest challenges. You mentioned that more than half, like, what percentage of your participants rely on the transportation part of the program?
For the Social 60 Plus Cafe, and that's the only one we provide the transportation to besides trips. But I think it's like 60% need the transportation to come to the program.
Okay, I'm sorry, so I didn't know that's the only program that you provide transportation for, right?
Yeah, we used to have something called SCAT, which is Senior Center Adult Transportation. And when the county a few years ago, they lost the contract with Red Top, because people could buy, they would pay, I think it was $2.50 each way from their home to a senior center. So it might be $5 round trip. And we used to subsidize that. But when we lost the contract with Red Top and the new vendor, it was just astronomical. We couldn't afford. And we realized we were only serving maybe 20 people out of all the members. So we were able to work with them and try to find, for a while, we actually gave them, we provided them with STAR coupons to try that out to see and try to get, because anybody that's eligible for Metro Access could do STAR, and those coupon books are like, it's $4 if they want to go somewhere. So we're not able to pay for that anymore, but our biggest thing is the transportation for the congregate meal.
Okay, and how do you do that? Do you have like staff that manage the transportation, or do you do it through another department? How do you manage that?
We have a vendor, Sunny's Transportation, that has a shuttle that they use, and it's a 15-passenger shuttle. Our staff has to do the weekly rosters and with the addresses and everything that they give to and we've been working with them long enough that it's usually the same driver every day, so they learn the routes really well. But that is the challenge, is the staff just having those that out, and we don't want the seniors on the bus for a long time too, so making sure nobody's on the bus for more than 30 minutes, I'd say.
Okay, thank you.
Anybody else? Wow, well, thank you so much, Jennifer. I'm just blown away by how much you're able to accomplish for $65 a person.
Thank you. We have a great staff and great support from volunteers and from the community and from the county. So we're really lucky. We have seniors come back and say that all the time. They were visiting where their child lives or somewhere, and they're like, they don't have what we have in Arlington County. So we're really blessed to have a lot of these programs. So thank you. I invite you all to stop out anytime at any of our centers. Check out the website. We have the 55 Plus guide. Check out our upcoming trips and get your gold pass if you're eligible. So
right. Yeah, it used to be most of the commission would be eligible, but now we've got a lot of people that aren't eligible. That's good. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me. Bye-bye.
Thank you, Jennifer.
Summer camps, all right. We're getting the full spectrum of children to seniors tonight. So we're gonna hear from
Baldini and Ben Harris.
Great. Thank you.
All right, thank you very much for having us tonight. I hope you can hear us. You look very small out there, so please let me know if I need to speak up. I'm Ben Harris with the Athletic and Field and Facility Services Division, and with me is Kim Baldini from the Community Recreation Division. Our two divisions work quite closely together to make summer camp happen each year. And so we're just going to run through some enrollment numbers and just give you a quick overview. Those of you who have had kids that go through the camp programs in Arlington know that they are wildly popular and fill up quickly. And those of you who have not had kids go through it yet, you'll get yours soon. So it's quite crazy. And Marco, if you could go to the next slide, that would be great. All right, so here's some, just to give you sort of a snapshot of where we are. So this is our current enrollment. So we've got about 13,000 kids enrolled already for summer camp, and that's with 514 camps offered. So we're a little bit lower than last year, but a big part of that is that it's a 9-week summer this year, not a 10-week summer. The summers are determined by when Arlington Public Schools start and stop. So we'll be a little bit lower this year. And so just to give you a quick overview, we have two main types of camps. We have our DPR offered camps, and that's done by the Community Recreation Division. And those are sort of what you think of as your traditional summer camps. Everything from a camp where the kids are doing some arts and crafts, they are having a lot of fun playing games and making great friends. We also have our fine arts camp, which is really popular and fills up super quick. And that's both at Fairlington and I'm blanking on where the other location is right now. But it's and then CRD also has their nature camp up at Madison that does a lot of exploring outdoors. And all those camps are super popular. And Kim's going to talk a little bit more about the teen camps in just a little bit. The other major category of camps we have are contractor camps. So we work with outside vendors who come in and they bring camps, everything from sports to visual and performing arts, adventure, specialty camps, which range anything from chess to cooking to a whole lot of other things. And we also have some people who do more traditional camps that are similar to the CRD camps. So one of the things that we rely on each summer is our relationship with Arlington Public Schools. And so we work closely with them to make sure that we have locations around the county to offer camps and make sure we have the spaces necessary for whatever kind of camp we're offering. And it's a great relationship that has really it's really improved over the last 5 to 10 years, and it's really a strong partnership that we're very fortunate to have. The other kind of camp that we do have that isn't reflected in these numbers are what we call community camps. So these are camps that we help. They advertise in our camp book, and but they don't register on through our system. So these are places like the YMCA, Encore, ETC camps, Jane Franklin Dance. So these are a lot of these camps are offered through partnerships with Arlington Economic Development and the Cultural Resources Division. And we do help some of them find space as well. And so we work hard to promote their camps and provide. And each year it astounds me the number of slots that are offered. You can see on here also we do have wait lists. As I mentioned, the camps fill up quickly. And so the wait lists do grow for a variety of camps. I will tell you the CRD camps, I think those fill up faster than any of them, partly because they are a little bit lower cost, but the main reason is they are wildly popular, and each year the kids want to go back. And so we're very excited to always offer those. We still have camp slots remaining. So if you do have friends, neighbors, children who still want to go to camp, they can still enroll. All right, next slide, please.
Okay, hello everybody. So I'm going to talk about some of the 2025 camp updates. The first one that we embarked on this summer or this school year is the APS summer collaboration. As many of you may have known, the the summer camp or summer school offerings have decreased this year exponentially by APS. And we've been working with them on how to meet the needs of kids who may be looking for somewhere to go this summer. And so because of that, we added an additional 100 slot camp so we can accept about 100 more kids than we were planning on before we found out about the reduction in summer school. Additionally, we converted a half-day middle school camp at TJ, Junior Jam, if you've been around for a while, into a full-day camp that is sports and fitness focused. And so therefore, we're able to provide a full-day opportunity for those families whose younger teens aren't quite ready to stay home by themselves all day. In addition to working with schools, we also are holding referral slots. Those are spots that will hold closer to the beginning of summer. May is when we really, end of May, start looking at releasing those slots. But those slots are really designated for the kids who are most need in Arlington County. We work with teachers and school staff and counselors, and also DHS and some select programs like Doorways to identify kids who really need those slots. And so we are able to provide them a safe place to go for summer camp. Additionally, due to, again, the reduction in summer school, there are staff who will not be accommodated in the programs that they are offering. So we've been working with them to advertise our hiring spots because if you've been with us for a while, you know we're always trying really hard to hire tons and tons of staff. And so we are using this opportunity to be able to offer employment to those who are still looking for a position for the summer who may not be working. Teen opportunities, as you know, teens has been a large focus with us in community recreation and the department altogether. This summer, we're looking forward to having 88 volunteers who are probably closer to 13 and 14 years old. This is their first experience really getting out there and working in summer camps. It's an excellent opportunity. We provide them a training. We also interview them and place them in camp slots. So it's kind of like a mini job interview, like a nice little footstep into our program. And then due to some recent changes in the way that we hire, we are hiring a much larger teen pool. So we have kids applying starting at 14 years old to be able to work with us. Typically, they're a little bit older just for some experience in working with kids, but we are able to accommodate more teens in our programs and provide them really those first job experiences. I know I started working for Parks and Rec when I was 15 years old, and I'm still working in Parks and Rec, and I'm a lot older than 15. Also this summer, we're launching our new DPR internship program. It's a 2-week program for high schoolers starting at 16 years old. To really provide them a taste of what it's like to work for Arlington County Parks and Recreation in the field in general. I don't think a lot of people realize how varied the careers are in our department. You can be a laborer without a college degree, or you can be a planner like Marco with a lot of college, or you could you can come from all sorts of different backgrounds and be able to work in the field of Parks and Recreation. So we're really excited to launch that program. And also for those who aren't quite ready to work, we are, or just need a break from working so hard all school year, we will still offer our drop-in programming at Arlington Mill until 7 o'clock. And we work with the Capital Area Food Bank in providing an afternoon meal. So kids are able to stop in and get at least one hot meal with us. And we are also providing our teen trip series again this year, going to fun places in Northern Virginia. Ben?
Yeah, so registration. So registration is sort of an all year effort, and it starts early planning. But one of the things that we have done the last 2 years is we've provided an early registration period for families who receive fee reductions. And the idea there is that a lot of some of those families don't have access to technology, or they need a little extra time to register for the camps. And so we set aside 25% of all camps for families in the first week registration. And it's been a really big success. We have done a lot of great outreach, especially our public relations unit has gone out in the community and partnered with the schools as well as different nonprofit organizations. And last year it was, I think, about around 1,000 kids got registered in that time period, and this year is about 1,900. So we're heading in the right direction, but we really feel like we're doing a great job reaching those families and making sure they have these opportunities in the summer. And back to what Kimberly was talking about in terms of the decreased summer school slots, we really wanted to make sure that kids who often would be going to summer school knew about the opportunities for camp and were able to take advantage of that. And so that's been an exciting development over the last 2 years. All right, so what's happening now? So some of you may have received our changes to our cancellation policy. In response to the many changes in the federal government right now, we're finding a lot of families aren't sure where they're going to be in the summer, whether they're going to still be in the area, if they're going to be, if their employment's going to be in the same situation. And so what we're doing is we're pushing back some of our timelines for cancellation fees. So it was April 30th, and now families have until May 30th to cancel with a nominal cancellation fee. And then after that, they still have an opportunity to receive a refund of about 50% if they cancel before 2 weeks before their camp starts. We're really trying to balance making sure our providers, both the contractors and our county camps, have the information ahead of time to plan for the camps and the right number of kids, and also for the contractors to make sure that it's a viable business for them. But we also obviously want to make sure that families have that opportunity to make an informed decision on where they are in their employment. And we know that camp is childcare for a lot of families, and it is expensive. And we want to make sure that they are making the best decision they can for their family and their children. And so that's there's more information on the DPR website about those changes. And then also as you saw on the first slide, we do have slots left, and we're continuing to market, working with our public relations unit to make sure that we're reaching out to families and reaching out to schools to make sure that as families do make decisions, they know that there still are slots. And as we get closer to the end of May, we'll also start working a lot towards getting the referral slots filled as well, to make sure that we're hitting the kids who need it the most.
Okay, and additionally, right now we are in full swing with hiring. We look to hire about 150 staff each summer. A lot of those are returning, but we do have a lot of new staff that come on board. So we have been interviewing and receiving applications. It's still not too late to apply if you know anybody who's looking to work at summer camp. We're always looking for more people. And in May, we're going to start to begin to roll out our training. We have a variety of trainings that we provide our staff, from CPR to first aid to medication administration training, depending on your level. And we do in-person, online training, and it culminates in our big, huge annual Camp Day conference, which is this year, June 21st, right before camp starts. If you see the picture, that's one of our camp staff teams that got dressed up as Toy Story one year. We theme it, and we have a whole day full of events and training, from teaching facilitation skills, hip pocket games, you name it. We have an awesome day getting ready and getting psyched up to be able to provide summer camp. So our teams have been full swing, getting ready training, and also simultaneously hiring for camp this summer. The one thing I do want to say is I think everyone thinks summer camp is in the summer. Really, I think, Ben, correct me if I'm wrong, I think we get a week and a half off from summer. We all run from the hills in August, right after the county fair, and come back after Labor Day, and we're back planning and getting ready for the next year's summer camp. So we are looking forward to summer 2025. Thank you.
Any questions?
Oh, great. Well, thank you. What a wonderful presentation. I'm just so impressed with all the progress that's been made. The last time, I think, well, I guess it was 2 years ago or more, there was a lot of problem with the scheduling and the phone calls and everything. And so that doesn't, you're not talking about that at all. So I'm assuming that's not a problem anymore.
No, I think we've made some good progress in terms of it's really all hands on deck time when registration starts. And really that's everything from summer camps to enjoy to 55 plus registrations. We want to make sure that we have people on the phone, people on the computers, people in person. And so we just want to make sure that that's all covered. And obviously we've worked a lot with our software developer to make sure that all the backups that we need are in place. And knock on wood, we haven't had any incidents recently. So definitely happy we're not talking about that tonight.
I know, right? Me too. I bet you're happier than I am, but I'm very happy. And I'm also very pleased and impressed with how many more people who need fee reductions are being served. I think that's a great innovation to give them a week extra time, at the beginning to sign up. But having said that, I mean, once again, we're worried about, we have to be worried about cost recovery and the rates. I mean, I don't think you could answer, there's probably no uniform answer for every single camp. But are they generally cost recovered, or do we have any kind of rule of thumb that we could say about whether the fees are cost recovering the camp?
Yeah, so I mean, it's sort of a two-sided coin because we have the contracted camps, and what we collect the money through registration, and we have a contractual split of the fees with them. As we're providing space and the registration system, and so that is a little bit more, I think, a little bit more controllable because of the way the contract is structured, and the contractors do set their own camp fees, but our camp coordinator does a really good job of working with them to make sure that they're I mean, it's to their advantage as well, but making sure that they're hitting that sweet spot where families are registering, but then the families are also, but the contractors are also making money off the camp. So it's in terms of cost recovery, it's for the contracted camps. It's a formulaic problem that we can solve pretty easily. And for CRD.
Yes, for DPR camps in general, we are at the 85% cost recovery mark.
Okay, thank you. Anybody else have any? Melissa.
So great presentation. Thank you so much. You'd mentioned that the schools had reduced their summer from, was it 10 to 9 weeks? I think they said. Do you know if that's just due to maybe the amount of snow days we had this year, or is it an ongoing trend of moving it to be a smaller summer?
It's actually a calendar. Every now and then it's just a calendar thing so this year will be 9. Next year I think they've already announced the calendar. It's going to be 10 again. I want to say it's a 3 or 4 year cycle where we get a 9. It's usually going to be 10 weeks, but I think it's every 4. It's going to be a 9-week summer.
Mm-hmm.
Great, thank you.
Yep.
Andrew.
Yeah, one of the questions I have is, say my niece lives in Alexandria. Do kids from other jurisdictions attend Arlington's programs, and then what's the composition? Like what percentage are kids from out of the area versus in the area? Because it seems that these programs are quite desirable.
Yeah, so the way the registration period is that it's we have a period for residents to register, and then a week later the non-residents can register. And there is an increased fee as well for the non-residents. And for our more popular camps, we have very, very few non-residents who ever get in. But as you see, there are still some slots, but in general, our non-resident percentage of children is very low.
So what's the rough makeup percentage?
I don't have that off the top of my head. I can get back to you with that. Kim, do you know what it is for DPR
I would
camps?
say for DPR camps, it's mostly almost all Arlington kids. As Ben mentioned earlier, a lot of our camps fill really quickly, and so they fill with non-residents. Residents, not non-residents. So it's a very small percentage.
Thank you. Anybody else? Again, we're just wowed by how much you're able to do. Do you ever use volunteers?
Yes, we have a large cadre of youth volunteers, but we've always been trying to find a way to incorporate adult volunteers into our programs. But we have so many youth volunteers that we kind of have our hands full.
Yeah. And how many, how many year-long staff do you have?
Oh gosh, in my section, which is youth services, which is early childhood and a youth, teen, and family, I think I have close to 30 full-time staff or permanent staff. That includes preschool teachers. Yep.
And then for AFS, it depends on how you count them. Registration team is all AFS, so that's around 12 people who focus on registration year round. But then, they do other things as well. But then we have primarily one person who spearheads the camp effort, and then with a lot of support from other people in the division, and then a college summer intern comes in for about 4 weeks during the summer.
Okay, great. Wow, well, thank you so much for coming here tonight. We should have been more sensitive about not having you come during registration time. We'll be careful about that again in the future, but I know it's your busy season, so I'll let you go. If there's anybody else, we'll let you guys go. So thank you so much for coming. It's a great presentation. Right. It's good to know what's going on.
Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much.
Bye. Have a good night.
Good night. Wow. Oh, good to know what's happening here in case your friends ask you.
Maybe I missed this, that section, but did they go over the cost recovery percentage?
Yeah.
I thought you said it, okay.
She said DPR camps are about 85% cost recovery. And the other type, I forgot the name, but it's, the contractor ones it's a formula. Because they evidently charge them a percentage of the registration in the space. I don't know. It'd be interesting to know what how they calculate the charge that they decide the space is worth. But anyway, I think we're planning on getting into that. I put that in the letter on the budget that this year we'll be planning on tackling that cost recovery pyramid that was brought up at the last meeting.
It'll be interesting to see if the reduced capacity for summer school, how they deal with this, right? So it sounds like Kimberly mentioned they added 100 spots. So I wasn't sure if that was 100 for each of the 9 weeks, but it sounds like it was a dramatic reduction in APS summer starting this summer. So hopefully that'll be a challenge for them to manage, and hopefully they'll succeed.
It must be per camp.
per week.
per week. 100
100
students.
100 over 9 weeks would be like 10.
10.
I can
Yeah,
imagine
yeah.
it'd be-
Yeah.
They've added a couple of facilities of added capacity, so.
So I mean, did you understand her to say that summer school is almost canceled?
Well, they're reducing the capacity for sure, yeah, reducing the offerings.
They typically run for a month.
Just 4 weeks?
Yeah.
Okay. Yeah, because
They-
it
they
didn't
have
really
ones
sound
that
like a lot of slots if the whole program is being used.
I mean, there's different kinds of summer school. Some that's like required for students who didn't pass their classes, but then they have ones that were for like enrichment,
Oh,
Right.
okay.
like language or scholar, that kind of thing. And those are the ones I think that are.
Yeah, there's summer enrichment required, and then I believe for those that have, I guess, IEPs, if they, to continue on with their educational services too.
Well, that was very edifying. Is there any more on that? If not, we'll go to the staff report.
So I don't have anything additional for this month's staff report. I did want to mention that there are a lot of site plans out there. So if you're not receiving any of the reminders for any of the walking tours or the meetings or anything like that, let me know. And I'll get in contact with the site plan coordinator or the project managers for those projects to make sure that you're all included. And we can talk about that during the other bit, not the other business, but the commission member report section as well, if we need to. Another thing also is for our April 8th PRC meeting, we will not be providing staff reports since we only have a 2-week window between this meeting and the next one. So we'll continue on again with that during our May meeting.
One thing I appreciate you separating out the active projects.
Yes.
I don't know why this didn't come up before, but I think this really helpful.
It was driving me crazy.
There's so many projects.
I couldn't tell what was live.
But I don't know how much more work it would take to divide out the ones that are. When you say reactivating soon.
Yeah, for some of
You know what else to say?
Yeah.
For some of these, it's interesting because I remember Jill and I spoke about this. Some of these are on indefinite holds right now until we find out anything further. The reactivating soon ones are the ones that we're anticipating maybe coming on board again soon, but we just don't know the time frame for that.
Right. But it might be good to know which
Yeah.
one.
So we can't just take them off,
Oh, sure,
That's the
no.
problem. I mean, so you could rename it ones we can't take off.
Right. Well, no, but I meant further dividing it, so just having the ones that are on hold versus ones that are. And what does expired mean? What is that?
I spent a whole afternoon looking at all these.
I don't want, I
I
said,
don't
if it-
remember why.
only if it's not more work, but I'm just curious to know what that means. What does expired mean?
Yeah.
That's a good question. I had a reason, but I don't remember what it is.
Okay.
I mean, at what point do we take something off?
So typically what we do is once the site plan is adopted by the board, we'll take it off.
Okay.
If there is like, let's say, a follow-up, let's say that there is a major site plan amendment to that site plan where a PRC member needs to be involved, then we'll put it back on again.
Okay.
Marco?
Yes.
A quick correction to something. Do I tell you now or over email?
I'm sorry.
I have a correction to something on here.
Oh, okay.
I set my backup on something and I'm not listed, so.
No, it's
Oh, well,
okay.
let's do it now.
Yeah.
Because we
Okay,
went
great. Can you put me on the backup on Boston one?
Sorry?
The backup on Boston one?
Oh,
Yeah.
back.
Oh, that's
Yep.
right. And then Dave Early has graciously agreed to do the end of Roslyn. So that's no longer vacant. Yay, thank you guys.
Can I ask specific projects that I'm assigned to? One is the Wells Fargo, the other one's the YMCA site that I'm the backup from Melissa on. What those particular projects, what are they they're on holds?
They're on hold.
What, do you know what the reasons are?
There may be various, it could be related to what the developer's doing right now in terms of, either their price modeling for how they're going to get this forward, if they've already heard things from the community and they're still reacting to it. It may require them more time to go back to the drawing board. There's a lot of different things that could be happening.
Okay.
Yeah. In fact, I was gonna ask you what the status of the YMCA was, but, as far as I know, it's just on hold.
Yes, from what I know.
Yeah. Okay. And Claire, do you know what's going on? Like, the county never approved the Crystal City Block W. Yeah.
It said it was on hold until February.
Yeah, so I was actually one of the staff members assigned to that
Okay.
one. So yes, that is also another one that's on an indefinite hold right now.
Yeah, so, I
Yeah.
mean, the developers had snags, and it's just not possible to,
Right.
you know. Anyway, so we deal with it. So William Way is not here. He was gonna give us a report on the, Fairfax Park Foundation. He sent me some information, but, we're running a bit late, so I'll let him do that next time. And, let's see. Oh, we need to talk about the transportation. Daniel's not here, so I'm gonna step in for him because these have to get sent back. But we have a seat at the table to, influence the transportation plan. And, Gary very nicely put together a one-pager with the goals and the vision statement. If you open the attachment I sent, like the last thing before the meeting started, you'll get the one-pager. And all of these questions that we're supposed to answer, pertain to this one-pager. So I'll read them all and then we'll take them one at a time. First, they want us to say, did the draft statements reflect your understanding of the shared priorities and values of Arlington? Does the draft vision reflect a clear and aspirational future for Arlington? If not aspirational enough, how would you change it? Are there any missing priorities or values? And is it clear how community feedback helped craft the vision? So the vision, I'll just read the vision statement. Arlington's transportation network enables people of all backgrounds and abilities to move safely, comfortably, and seamlessly. Everyone can depend on a variety of transportation options to get them where they need to go, when they need to be there. Arlington focuses on making travel a good experience for people, connecting them with nature, friends, family, and jobs. I bet you that's why they got nature in us. Maybe Melissa in particular. Anyway, okay. So I'll just go back to the first question. Do these draft statements reflect your understanding of the shared priorities?
I'm sorry.
Okay.
I would say yes, perhaps maybe even add shopping to it, because at the end of the day, transportation should be for everything. I think I think the statement is very broad, but yeah, it shouldn't just be to see friends, get to work, access nature. Should also be seen as an economic driver for cities.
Go ahead.
Yeah, no, I think the goals are super. I actually think they do reflect a lot of Arlington's priorities and values. I think the vision statement really is very redundant and really focuses on the transportation systems, what it does in terms of moving people. It says that 3 times. It does not touch on the sustainable or livable component of the goals statement. So I think what I would recommend is they rethink these ideas in the statement that's current, compress that. Right now we've got to move, get them where, and making travel. Those are the 3 verbs of that 3 sentences. I think we compress that into one, dependable, safe transportation system that does some of these other things. Add a second section, which is a second sentence, which focuses on the livability and the sustainability mission of the transportation system. And then the third piece is this last goal, transparency and accountability, which is, how well does it enhance or, represent the good governance? And you don't want to use these things in a vision statement, but it's about the future needs, it's about the values, and it's about the priorities of the system, which would be the third piece. So I think the vision statement can learn a lot from the goals as they're written and focus less on what it does, but more on how it impacts and how we use it to drive the future. And I think Andrew's right. I think economic opportunity goes in that in livability and sustainability.
Yeah, what struck me is that there's, I don't feel, even though maybe it's implied, much wrestling with things like, electric bikes, all kinds of future stuff that's coming. I just don't feel that it's being. So, okay, I like your comment. Andrew.
Again, this is not the, I'm so sorry. Did you agree, Panda?
No, it's not.
While at the end of the day, we're not the transportation committee and we're talking about goals and mission statement compared to the actual operations of it. But I hope, at least my hope is that a bunch of flowery goals doesn't get in the way of what ultimately makes the transportation system. And what that is reliability with very short headways. And then the second one is safety. When they put safety here, it's actually the shortest of all of the statements and the goals. And part of me almost feels like they put in safety because that was like the overwhelming top public comment of something to add to it. Because there is this overwhelming and not well-deserved in Arlington specifically perception of lack of safety on public transportation. And they focused on prioritize safety for all people and eliminate transportation-related deaths and serious injuries. That almost sounds like they're talking about automobile accidents, bus accidents, and not talking about the physical safety within
personal safety.
Yeah, personal safety within the vehicles themselves. So, I mean, again, we're not the transportation advisory board, but if you want a transportation system that works, you want short headways, you want a safe user experience. I would not be regularly taking the WAMTA to work if it was 25 minutes between trains compared to 7 minutes between.
Headways means.
Yeah, that's fine.
Okay.
So I mean, at the end of the day, reliability doesn't just mean you plan it once every 90 minutes and it shows up on time every 90 minutes. It means it's actually a functional way for people to get from point A to point B. The second thing I will say, and again, I'm not trying to be too long-winded here, is that when they say Arlington transportation system, that does, of course, imply that it means automobiles, POVs, roads, which becomes a little bit of an issue when you consider the layers of roads. You got the ones that are managed by the state, you have ones that are managed, there's a federally funded ones, but you've got state roads as well as what the county roads are. So maybe we're viewing things too much, and maybe I'm viewing things too much in the terms of like mass transit, buses, et cetera, but or e-bikes and pedestrian paths. But I don't know. It's very hard to draft one of these statements that includes personal owned automobiles as well as buses. And I don't know quite where I was going with that, but
Well, I would like to pick up on it and refer to the article I sent you, Alex, about the Paris proposal to close 500 streets or 300 streets.
They passed that.
Yeah, I don't feel anything like that in this. There's no thought about the impact of streetscapes on stormwater runoff and environmental habitat and things like that, which I think should be a more prominent, that should be under sustainable, but the sustainable, it just says move more people without more traffic and reduces environmental. I suppose you could say that, but.
Also there's accessibility. A lot of people physically cannot drive for one reason or another. Wheelchair access also depends on having safe sidewalks.
Right.
At the end of the day, I just hope that this ultimately reflects what their priorities are on the ground. It isn't just something drafted out by ChatGPT for a nice flowery statement on the wall.
That's not the Arlington one.
I
What'd you say?
At least not publicly.
Are there any, so I think we've covered all these questions now. Thank you guys.
Are there,
Yeah, thank you, Bob. It's really.
are there issues that relate to our core mission as the Parks Commission that aren't reflected the way we would want them to be yet?
Well, I mean, I have this perpetual issue with these electric bikes, having nearly gotten run over by them on a bike.
Scooters? You mean the scooters?
Yeah, and that.
Well, I mean, yeah, actually, I almost got run over by the electric scooters, but the bike.
Yeah, because I mean, the bikes and the scooters, because the scooters have a whole other set of things, including the fact that people park them in the middle of the sidewalk so that you can't get behind them. Yeah.
They're very fast, and so that affects safety. There's both of them, all those.
My personal issue was, almost getting bombed by one. But I mean, I'm sure there's a lot of other issues. And yet they're definitely something that could significantly influence sustainability if people are able to use them for shopping or, in their daily lives. So I don't feel a lot of, I wish they grappled with this kind of thing more.
I think to that point, I think that they need to have a goal of like being agile, because like a lot of these things are like dependent on public-private partnerships. The bikes you're talking about are run by a private entity, and as are these scooters and everything else. So they need to have some sort of structure in place to work with these companies to respond to community-based issues like that are going to impact and cascade down through all these other goals that they have. So if they're ignoring that aspect, they're going to have a detriment to all the other goals as a result.
Agility is a very good goal. Think of that, yeah.
Yeah, I like that. But also on the transparency and accountability, I wish they had the goal of making, of setting metrics that then they check with every year or something. Is that too specific? I think
No,
that's really.
I mean, that's basic accountability that you're checking to make sure that you're meeting your KPIs, whatever you're.
Yeah. So each of these goals will have a number, as they do in the other master plans that we've seen, they'll have a number of initiatives with metrics associated with it and so forth.
I think they would need to materially distinguish it from like other metrics that they're tracking through things like Vision Zero, though. Like what metrics would they want to be tracking other than like incident?
Vision Zero is the car accidents.
Yeah.
Or pedestrian.
Yeah,
deaths.
pedestrian
deaths.
deaths.
What, say it louder?
Cyclists.
Okay. What were you gonna say, Dave?
No, I totally agree with that.
Yeah. So, but Vision Zero is surely within this, but that's not what we're talking about.
Yeah, I think they would just need to be deliberate about, how they're distinguishing what they're tracking from what's already being tracked with Vision Zero.
Okay. This is the transportation master plan. So does anybody know the time frame for the plan?
It's a long time.
It's 30 years.
Oh, the planning horizon.
Yeah.
Oh, I was talking about the months till this. I don't know. Is it on that? Why do you ask? I guess that has a difference in how it.
Yeah.
approached.
Right. So,
Short term versus long term.
yeah.
I mean, if we want to be
The decisions-
zero by 30 years.
Yeah, I don't think there's a set plan. I went to one of the Arlington's events and they had a pop-up and I asked about, for how many years this is supposed to be for. I don't think there's like an actual set time period. I know that this is just updated from one that was in like the last 10 years.
Yeah, so normally when they make a plan, they're saying for how many years out?
Yeah, so the idea is this plan will set the framework for decisions that would be made in the capital improvement program.
Sure. Yeah.
5-year cycle or 6-year cycle. Every other year or every couple of years. So, but it'll go for 5 or 6 cycles out, like I said.
It's the city is 10 years, but every 2 years they update it.
Perfect, thank you. Yeah.
Oh, the CIP, yeah.
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 So they'll use this document to plan those capital improvements. I guess where I'm going is the agility piece to think through. I mean, it's a living document. You're not gonna do it today and make decisions 20 years from now without refreshing it, without
Yeah.
managing it. Maybe that's in the transparency and accountability, kind of the operational element of it. The decision-making is here perhaps. And that's why it needs to be, I think, identified in the vision statement, that we are treating this as our framework for the future. I think.
This is a small thing, but should the vision statement be on top? And the
That
goals
was
come
Gary.
after that? What?
That's Gary's fault.
Oh,
It is.
okay. Just blame Gary.
He was nice enough to put this together and we're blaming him. Sorry.
You threw him under the bus.
All right.
Oh, what a move.
So according to the website, the last master transportation plan update occurred in 2007. So and it's gonna be carried forward in 2 phases. So the first of 4 phases to be developed, or 4 phases to be developed between fall of 2024 through 2026. So roughly 20 years in between plans is what I'm gathering, but I'm not sure how that would affect what they're doing moving forward.
Yeah, I mean, if we're gonna be carbon zero by 2050, has to be a lot more sustainability in this.
It's, transportation is so tied into land use. Perhaps that's where we, are at. In order to get more people out of the single automobile, you're gonna have to do all these development projects, right? All the development projects that we're active in. So maintaining an open space within the context of something that's getting denser in order to be more efficient is something that we'll have to keep in mind, ourselves actively engaged in. And perhaps we do that through the participation on the site review plans and so forth. But it's really key. How the county develops over time from a land use perspective drives what the transportation network needs to be and how efficient it is to reach these.
It's a very small soapbox I have, but it's always very funny to see the amount of anger, and I'm not speaking of anybody here, that is directed towards e-scooters and their relative risk, or e-bikes and their relative risk, given the number of injuries and deaths they do compared to automobiles.
True.
Because they are a very energy efficient way to get around. They are a demonstrably safer way to get around.
If they're not interacting with cars, if they're expected to, I mean, that's my issue with them. They're neither fish nor fowl, right? They don't really belong on the bike path and they don't really belong on the street. So, and yet they're really useful. So.
Well, the thing is they do belong on the street in the same place, the same way that bikes belong on the street. And so
yeah, commuters.
It's connected to the amount of bike lanes we have, because essentially they're, for the purpose of transportation, they're a bike. They just happen to be electric and they're shaped differently than bikes, but they're essentially a bike.
But there's bikes, so again, breaking this down, there's bike lanes that are on the streets that attract a certain bicyclist. And then there are bike lanes that are more for recreational bicyclists, including 6-year-olds.
I'm not sure what you mean by.
Like the ones that run through the parks. Like the part of WNOD that goes through the parks.
Oh, I mean, I'm not even talking about that. I'm mainly talking about the streets. I mean,
But I'm saying, if you've got 6-year-olds riding their bikes in the park, in the same place that you're expecting a 30-mile-an-hour scooter to be able to go.
they don't go 30 miles.
They're legally not allowed to. In fact, it's 15 is, I think, the limit that they have on those e-scooters. And it's funny how our cars don't have speed governors, but our e-scooters do. And we still have all this discussion about their lack of safety.
I did notice, I think it was a transportation newsletter. I get like 10 newsletters from my county, so it's hard to tell. But I noticed they had one that had like how to ride an e-scooter properly. It had the term cute and not cute, which I thought was kind of funny. The not cute had the riding, I think it was on the sidewalk without a helmet, doing something else. And then the better version was them on the bike path with a helmet.
Right.
So I think it was very implied that if you're on an e-scooter, you should be on the bike, if there is a bike path. I don't know about I know the part.
Whether you should or shouldn't be on the bike path.
The image, the right way to do it was to be on the bike path.
Isn't it illegal to be on a sidewalk in the same way it is with bicycles?
It depends where you are. I mean, in DC proper, like downtown, I know it's illegal, but I don't know about Arlington County if it's illegal or not to be on a bike.
I think it depends where you are.
Yeah. But that's what I saw in the official newsletter, of the county.
Okay, well, that's helpful. All right, I'll stop talking about the e-bikes. I mean, I'm personally very much in favor.
Yeah.
I mean, I understand
It
the
needs-
concerns though. It's a new,
Well,
not
it-
new, but it's new-ish enough that we're still discussing it versus like some things are old hat at this point.
And it gets to just the potential conflicts between these different methods of transportation. They're, of course, kind of scuffling over a fixed amount of physical space. And there are going to be tensions there.
All right, do you want to talk about little bitty cars now? No, I'm just kidding. All right, I think we covered all of these points. Does anybody have anything else they want to add? So, I think what we'll do is have Daniel review this part of the video. Oh, Erin.
Yeah, just on the topic of like equity, like I kind of had similar feelings of like, I think it is a beautiful vision and like, you know, if we're able to meet all these marks and like, yes, we will have a great future for Arlington. But in terms of like the equity part of like ensuring that all people have access, you know, to different modes of transit, I think there will have to be some collaborations with like other departments, just in terms of like in the areas that have the most options, like places that are closer to the metro and have, you know, you have bus options, you have a lot of the micro mobility options like the scooters, are usually the more expensive areas. So can there be a balance of either providing more affordable housing in these areas, or, you know, there need to be initiatives to get other forms of transportation where, you know, you don't have as many options, and just, I would just like to see how that part will be actually realized.
That goes back, we were saying about the agilis and working with private companies that are providing transportation to make sure that they are making it available in places that need it. And we don't have transportation desert, so to speak.
Yeah.
What's funny about it is that, at least as Arlington is set up, some of the biggest public transport deserts are in some of the wealthiest areas in the Northwest, where what little bus service there has been wasn't used very much. The counties consistently reduced the art schedule up there for monetary reasons, basically. So these are some of the wealthiest parts of Arlington. They now have some of the worst amount of public transport options.
But to Melissa's point that she made very effectively a couple of meetings ago, that's where some of the best park is. So, I mean, it's really important to get the bus service.
A lot of wealthier neighborhoods are not necessarily in favor of having transit near them because they don't want to bring in the riffraff, so to speak.
Wait, you're saying there's NIMBYs in Arlington?
Since what?
All right,
Like neighborhood association sometime.
yeah.
Or the comment section.
That's terrible.
Well, this is a good discussion. I hope that Daniel, well, I may help him try to summarize it without having to read. Watch all. Okay, is there anything anybody wants to highlight? Otherwise, the last thing we have really is the budget letter.
Just one question.
Yeah.
On the Bill Thomas Park Volunteer Award, have we received?
Claire, you want to give us an update?
William and I are meeting on Friday.
And you've received all the applications.
I'd like to say how many applications?
You're allowed, yes.
Four that were
Great. Good.
but we'll be providing the update on the 8th.
And we'll vote at the April meeting, right? Okay, yeah, so please, everybody, make sure you're there.
Thank you.
And then just a preview, since we're on that subject.
Yeah, so what we're programming is Another reason why our meeting in April is so early is because we would like to have a lot of time between the April 8th meeting and the May 13th meeting to plan for the ceremony itself, the reception. There's William. Contacting the potential winner, the nominees, because we'll be recognizing them as well, and making sure that our county board essentially is aware of what we're doing for that. So giving us that 4-week period, I think would be.
So, and then on the 13th, there will be a during the day ceremony. We don't know if it's going to be more like 1 o'clock or more like 3 o'clock. And then that'll be also that day, in the evening of that day, we will have our regular meeting. So it'll be PRC all day. Okay, anything else before we do the budget letter? So I sent around a draft. I got a comment from Gary, which I changed the word.
Very crucial word.
And I got a few comments from people. I think I've pretty much incorporated them all, but if I didn't.
I have one, I think, typo
Okay,
in the paragraph above budget austerity measure proposed title.
okay.
It refers to other site plant conditions. I believe you meant plant conditions.
You're concerned about the plants, don't get it.
It was not.
In the line above budget.
Yeah, in the paragraph
Oh,
above, it's a letter of March 3rd, 2022 for other site plant conditions.
With the link.
No, it's right here.
Above, yeah,
It's the second paragraph of the revenue increase.
Oh, no wonder, I was on the first page. Oh, okay.
Second paragraph.
Third line. After March 3rd.
Site plan. Yeah.
Oh,
And then another thing is, and I'm sorry, I'm embarrassed about this, but what's NVCT?
for the Virginia Conservation Trust.
Okay, we don't spell that out anywhere in the letter,
Got it, okay.
so I think it would be good to.
Yep, it would.
The first place to mention, I think, is under, oh, I'm sorry, I didn't realize you had budget austerity principles at the top, that's why you were confused, okay. That's the first place we mention it is under budget austerity principles, so maybe you spell it out there, put it in
Okay.
parentheses. And this way, when you refer to it later.
Well, now I know I've really arrived when I'm doing the thing that so annoyed me when I first started this job, not being able to follow the conversations because everybody uses acronyms. Okay, thank you. That was a very good catch. I really appreciate the process that we used in developing this letter this time. I hope everybody else did too. It was not an easy thing scheduling wise because we got our briefing on the very same day that we were supposed to make comments to the commission. And it's a very difficult year financially, so we don't know really what's going to happen. But so, okay, well, with that, do we vote on this?
I mean, you don't have to necessarily vote, just acknowledge that I guess you'll be drafting a letter.
Without any objection, I will make these changes and submit the letter on our behalf.
And just so everyone's aware, the board will be acting on the adoption for the fiscal year 2026 budget on Wednesday, April 9th. So the day after our meeting, actually.
Oh,
So when do we plan to send this letter to?
I'll do it tomorrow.
Tomorrow.
But I basically said the same thing to them twice now. So, they know where we're coming from. Well, I think with that, except we already talked about the next meeting, right? So with that, I think I'll entertain a motion to adjourn.
So moved.
Second. All right, everybody in favor of adjourning, say aye.
Aye.
All opposed? Stay here. All right, the meeting is, thank you so much.
Thank you, everyone.
William, thank you for coming. We put off the discussion on the Friends of Fairfax.
Great, thanks a lot. Good seeing you.
We missed you, but I'm glad to see you this little bit.
Take care.
I'll be literally busy.